Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. My name is Darrell and we are here with some NBA 2K Mobile. So yesterday I dropped this community post for today's video in which I'm going to be reviewing some of your teams and giving you some tips and feedback on how to improve your squad or build out some of your players. Now, big shout out to everybody who dropped a vote, letting me know what your current tier is, and for letting me know your in-game name and player ID, which makes it a lot easier for me to review your squads. So we're going to be going through some of the submissions in this video, and whichever ones I can't get to, I will do in a follow-up video as well. We dropped this post about 16 hours ago and 463 people voted, and it seems like most of y'all are in plasma quartz, which is pretty good. There is a good amount of y'all in cosmic jasper, amber, obsidian, and I'm guessing there's some people in the other tiers as well. So I'm going to go through these comments in the order that they came in first. So the first post was from Stephen Lee. I will be reviewing your squad first. And the best way for you to know if I reviewed your squad, I'm going to put a heart next to each comment that I review in the video. That way, when I go to continue the next one, I know which teams I missed. So I'm definitely going to try to review everybody's squad at some point. So the first one is Stephen Lee. Appreciate you, DRL rating teams. Name is Steph. And looks like Stephen Lee is in the plasma quartz tier. This is also an opportunity for you to showcase your team and spotlight them in the video and let everybody know in the community what players you're using. Who knows, it might give somebody an idea of different combinations they can use for head-to-head or tourneys. All right, so we're gonna type in the code here. And anybody who's being featured in the video, drop them a follow. I'm sure everybody wouldn't mind extra followers inside the game. Show some love, you know what I'm saying? Keep some positivity in the community. All right, so here goes the squad. Stephen Curry has the avatar, name is Steph. Power is 190,280, that's pretty crazy. So taking a look at his squad, he's got Rainmaker, Stephen Curry maxed out. So that is for sure impressive. Curry right now is rocking the Curry 2 shoes, legendary shoes. So I like that a lot because this brings up mid-range shooting by 2. It also brings up agility by 2, and it brings up three-point shot by 2. So this is a maxed out shooting Curry. Probably one of the best builds I've seen. It also maxes out shoot off dribble and playmaking due to the Jalen Brunson mentor, which is also maxed out. This is a pretty insane build for Stephen Curry. I like this a lot. For shooting guard, they got Pistol Pete. Also has a legendary shoe. This is the Air Jordan 13, +2 to three-point shot. It's a very good shoe. Any shoe that has a +2 to three-point shot as the first attribute is very good for your guards. This is going to be a shoe that's great once it's built out. Pete Maravich also has a CJ McCollum mentor. This brings up mid-range shooting up to a 7 and agility up to a 6. So this is really the kind of build you want to use with Pete Maravich. For the most part, he is a scoring point guard, but he's also a really good playmaker. And because this is a triple doubles themed card, he has that 6 in playmaking, which is incredibly helpful. So it'll be interesting to see what the other attributes are for these Air Jordan 13s. So I'm going to pull up the gear list and see if we can get an idea of what other attributes these sneakers can have when they're fully maxed out. Because there are a couple things that I would bring up for Pete Maravich. All right, so taking a look at the Air Jordan 13s that we have on this list that are maxed out. Again, big shout out to DameGotGame and RaptorsChamps for creating this list. I will also leave it in the description, just like I do with my gear key opening videos. So on the list, there are 3 shoes that are maxed out. It looks like all 3 of these shoes give you a +2 to defense once the shoe is fully upgraded. That's definitely a valuable attribute that I think is gonna really help out Pete Maravich. Now, some of these shoes give you a +2 to mid-range, a +2 to playmaking, and a +2 to defense again. So if you're able to max out those shoes, that +2 to defense is going to be very impactful for Pete Maravich because he only has a 4 in that stat. One thing I do recommend for players, considering that mentors are a bit pricey to equip and they do require a lot of resources to make, focus on the shoe that you're gonna have on that player, build out that shoe completely, and then that way, once you have an idea of what other stats you need, then you can make a mentor. Because in this case here, these Air Jordan 13s are going to be incredible, but they're going to boost up some stats that are already maxed out or some stats that don't need to be increased, especially on these triple double cards, right? Because playmaking's already 6. I think that's a good stat already. Aside from that, this is still a good build for Pistol Pete. We got playoffs Kevin Durant, one of the top small forwards in this game for sure. This Kevin Durant got Curry 2 legendary shoes as well. Gives you a +2 to mid-range, +2 to three-point shot, +2 to playmaking. Incredible shoes. And then with the Kevin Durant mentor, it's an obsidian one, so most likely that was the Rainmaker's card. Gives you a +2 to shoot off dribble and a +2 to mid-range again. So this is another example where the mentor gave you extra stats that you don't need. So you could kind of use the mentors a little more efficiently, right? If that was my advice. But aside from that, this build is crazy because the shoot off dribble maxed out for KD makes such a big difference because he is so good at creating his own offensive opportunities, beating his opponent off the dribble for a quick shot. The mid-range maxed out, incredible. He is a midi magician. Maxed out three-point shot is great because he is a corner trade specialist. And then maxed out playmaking is incredible, right? For any player. Next, we got the Cosmic Jasper Playoffs Giannis, also maxed out. Incredible card. The best power forward in the game right now. This Giannis has the crazy explosive lows, legendary shoe, and a Paolo Banchero mentor. Now, the mentor boosts off shoot off dribble up to a 6. And layups and dunks up to a 7. The layups and dunks is really good for Giannis. The shoot-up dribble, it's not really a stat you need to increase for him, but if you have it, it's a plus, right? Maxing out the mid-range is important because Giannis is a good pick and pop player. You do have some other stats that you can boost up. So there's 3 pairs of the maxed out crazy explosive lows. They all start off with that boosted mid-range +2. Looking at all 3 of the shoes, they all have a +2 to playmaking, which is really helpful for any player. I do like the combinations that they have, right? They'll get +2 to defending, +2 to strength, or +2 to rebounding. So Giannis could definitely use +2 to defending. We'll be able to max it out. +2 to rebounding will also max it out. And +2 to strength will also max it out. So these shoes will be very good for Giannis once they're maxed out. So congratulations. You could have an incredible Giannis once everything is done. And last but not least, we got Nikola Jokic, who is also a top tier center. This Jokic has the Way of Wade 6, boosts up defending, right? That's the first core stat that it brings up. And it also brings up post scoring by 2, which is really good for Jokic. He has the Jacob Podol mentor, which was able to max out his strength and max out his rebounding. Really good combination there. Let's see what the third stat is for the Way of Wade 6. So the Way of Wade 6 looks like the last attribute is +2 to mid-range. If we look at this Jokic build, this is another incredible build as well, because Jokic with a +2 to mid-range would also max him out. So big shout out to Stephen Lee. You are working on building out a really, really good squad. And if you're not using the gear list, definitely check that out when working on building out other shoes. That way you don't create your mentors first, right? Just some advice there. But aside from that, thanks for the support always on the videos. You are a long-time subscriber. Looks like we're going to review 3 more teams in this video, since I do want to go in depth on your squads, kind of like what we did right here. And I'll try to release them once a week. That way I can get to everybody's team a little bit sooner. All right, so let's go on to the next squad. All right, so the next team is going to be from Cotswold Studios. It says, thanks DRL. They are in Plasma Quartz tier. Big shout out. And as I said earlier, I'm going to heart the teams that I'm going to review. That way I can keep better track of this. And let's look up this team right now. And if I'm not following you, I'll drop you a follow until I hit the max limit. So Steph, I'm already following. All right, so y'all know the drill. Whoever's being reviewed, drop them a follow. We're looking at AA125. Now, we are going to see a lot of similar players because there's some players that you need to have on your squad, right? It is what it is. So the first one is Stephen Curry, Rainmakers Curry. So they are rocking the Crazy Light Boost 2014. This brings up Curry's mid-range up to a 7, which is a good idea. And then brings up Strafe up to a 3, which is not that bad, right? Because having a Curry that can take some contact when doing layups is helpful. And then the mentor is a Damian Lillard mentor, which boosts up agility by 1. If you are going to boost up some more stats for Curry, like if you do get an epic gear or a legendary shoe later on with a 3rd attribute, or if you're going to make a new mentor, you can also try to bring up Curry's shoot-off dribble, his layups and dunks, which is only a 3, his playmaking, you can bring it up, his defending, and his 3-point shot, even though it's already at a 5. But when you upgrade from 5 to 6 or 7, you really notice the difference on Curry. But big shout out to you for having that Curry. It's definitely one of the top Curry cards still. This triple doubles Pistol Pete is definitely a really good card for everybody to use. You're able to max out his 3-point shot with the Air Jordan 13s. So looking at the epic Air Jordan 13s, there are some pairs that give you a +2 to mid-range, defending, playmaking. So if you do get that combination, it would be pretty good because right now Pete Maravich's defending is a 4 and his mid-range is a 5. So you'll be able to max out his mid-range and you can bring up his defending up to a 6, which is really good for Pistol Pete. If you're going to bring up some more stats, possibly with the mentor, you can bring up his layups and dunks. Right now it's sitting at a 3. So that's something you can definitely improve. You can bring up a shoot-off dribble as well. Kevin Durant, you got the Curry 8s. This brings up agility up to a 6, mid-range up to a 7. That's really good. And then with the Kawhi Leonard mentor, you're able to max out his 3-point shot. And then with the +1 to shoot off dribble, you're able to bring it up to a 6. This is a very, very good Kevin Durant build. And if you do get some epic or legendary shoes later on, you can try to focus on building out his playmaking and his defending and layups and dunks. A really good Kevin Durant build. This is an offensive build for sure. Now you got Jaren Jackson Jr. in there, which is a great idea because right now your squad was looking very offensive. So by having a defensive beast like Jaren Jackson Jr., that's going to help you out a head-to-head for sure. And I see that you maxed out his defending. Very good idea by bringing that up to a 7. And I see that you also boosted his rebounding and his layups and dunks, which is really good. That way he can get some offensive rebounds for some easy put-back dunks, which is very helpful when you got a lot of shooters on your squad. Having a good offensive rebounder can get you those second possessions that make a huge difference in head-to-head. So this is a nice one, good build to Jaren Jackson Jr. If you do eventually upgrade your mentor, you can try to max out his rebounding. It'll make a big difference for Jaren Jackson Jr. That with the maxed out defending, he'll be incredible. And here goes the Jokic. Brought his agility up to a 6, and his defending up to a 6, and layups and dunks up to a 5. It's a really good idea. This is a good build for Jokic, allowing him to be defensive. That was a good upgrade you made because it complements Jaren Jackson Jr. very well and gives you a strong presence in the paint. Shoes you're rocking, the Hyper Dunk 2008s are really good. I think the agility boost and the defending was perfect for your player. As far as the mentors, if you do make another one in the future, try to find one that will max out Jokic's rebounding and maybe bring up his playmaking. You would notice the difference with those two boosts because Jokic will be unstoppable on the offensive glass. This is a nice squad, so big shout out to AA125. All right, next squad is Mason Miller. All right, so we got M Mills 16. You know I like your squad already. You got a New York Knick on there. We got Julius Randle. And it looks like your favorite team is the Nuggets, so congratulations on making the finals. So looking at your squad, you got the triple doubles Russell Westbrook. This card is incredible. If y'all didn't see the videos over the weekend, this Russell Westbrook is a bucket. And with the boost he got for the triple doubles theme, this is a top tier point guard. Might even be top 3, right? That's how good this card is right here. See that you're rocking the Air Composites ones Weathermans. Normally I like to use those shoes on the power forwards and centers because the stats are so good, right, for your big men. With these shoes, you added 1 stat to rebounding for Russell Westbrook, and you added 1 defending to Russell Westbrook, which brought it to 5. So that was a good idea by making him a better defender. There are some better options for the rare shoes for Russell Westbrook. And since rare shoes are easier to get, I'll give you some suggestions. But right now, your Weathermans give a +2 to rebounding to Russell Westbrook. One, he already has a 6 in rebounding, which is really high for a point guard. But like for the point guard position, there are some other shoes that will help out Russ big time. Like for one, the Kyrie ones will boost up 3-point shot by 2. Layups and dunks by 1, which is incredible for us. We also got the D Lillard 3s, which will bring up agility by 2 and playmaking by 1. The Shaq Attack 4s, which are like some of my favorites for point guards. I like to use these with Derrick Rose. It brings up layups and dunks by 2, and then it also brings up defending. And you can see there's a couple different versions of the Shaq Attack 4s. There's even some that bring up 3-point shot. But that first attribute is always layups and dunks. The LeBron 8s are incredible as well. They bring up 3-point shot by 2. Mid-range by 1, or strength, or post scoring, which all help with Russ, or the Curry 4 lows, which brings up defending by 2. You're able to still accomplish what you're trying to do, and it can also bring up strength. And I also seen some that bring up 3-point shot. The KD 7 on pros, which bring up shoot off, dribble, and agility. So there's a lot of combinations there. And again, rare shoes are a lot easier to get in this game. If you are to make a mentor for Russell Westbrook, you can actually like try to make a Ruby mentor if it's easier for you. The Ruby mentors will bring up 1 stat. So try to find a player that might have a boost to one of the stats that you need. Like if you could find someone that has a 3-point boost, that will help you out. Or if you could find something that will boost up defense, that will help you out. Ruby mentors are very easy to make. Pistol Pete, you got the LeBron 8s, really good shoes. Now, sometimes these shoes will give you the same stat twice, which I see is what happened with yours. So yes, you were able to max out his 3-point shot, which is really good. But only if those shoes had another stat for that second attribute, it would have been so much better, because then you would have been able to boost up another stat. But listen, that's not your fault. These are good shoes to use for Pistol Pete. If you do make a mentor, try to bring up his defending and his layups and dunks. It'll make a big difference for him. We got LeBron James with the Curry 4 lows. You see these shoes are great. They always bring up defending by 2. This pair happened to bring up playmaking, which was a great combination. This LeBron card was incredible with all the boosts it got from him rising in the playoffs. It's really solid. Too bad we're not seeing LeBron in the finals, man. I was really hoping LeBron could get another ring. But it is what it is, right? He balled out 40 points, almost a triple-double. What more can you ask, right? This is a good build for LeBron. Once you do make a mentor, you can try to bring up his mid-range shots. This is only at a 4. Bringing it up to a 5 will make a big difference. Julius Randle, Knicks Nation. The Weathermans are perfect for Julius Randle. Maxes out his rebounding. It also brought up his mid-range up to a 6. Very good build there for Julius Randle. Once you do make a mentor, try to bring up either his 3-point shot, his playmaking, or his defending. Or layups, dunks, right? One of those 4. And then we got Nikola Jokic. You got a maxed out mid-range Nikola Jokic, which is really good for the pick and pop. And that will help you out a lot when playing fantasy finals. Post scoring is up to a 6, which is really good. Once you make your mentor, bring up Jokic's defending and his rebounding. And if you eventually get some epic shoes, some that will bring up his layups and dunks will be really good. But overall, you got a really good rebounding team, which will be great for head-to-head, where you can get those rebounds for fast breaks or get the offensive rebounds for the second chance opportunities. All right, next we got Wafter W. Shout out to the best NBA 2K mobile content creator. Appreciate that. There's a lot of us, but I appreciate that for sure. Hope we have another Classic Teams episode this week. We definitely do. I got an idea. I just got to make sure I still have those players on my team. I might have used them for upgrades, but let's see what happens. But I got something cooking up. All right, next squad is Fat Muncher. If I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. Right off the back, I noticed one of my favorite players right now, Jalen Brunson. That's a W automatically. I see your favorite team is the Warriors, another team that I thought was going to go further than they did, but it is what it is, right? So Jalen Brunson, you do have the KD 13s. Those are some of my favorite legendary shoes right now. I love the fact that they have a +2 to defense because it helps out a lot of the point guards in the game, right? Not too many of them have a high defending stat. There are very few that have a 5. One of those cards is the Gary Payton triple doubles card that's releasing this week. So you would only see that as an event reward if you're in Cosmic Jasper tier or lower. That Gary Payton has a 5 in defending, along with all the other boosted stats. DeJounte Murray is another player with a 5 in defending. The boost of the shoes, you're able to bring up his layups and dunks up to a 4. And you brought up his strength up to a 4, which is really good for point guards. Allows them to take contact in the paint. You also added a Stephen Curry mentor, which boosted up his 3-point shot and his playmaking. Very smart idea by doing an amethyst mentor, because at least you get a +1 for each attribute. Still helpful. And I recommend that to anybody. If you don't have mentors, at least start with a ruby. If you can do the amethyst, even better. Really, the idea is just to boost up the stats, right? That's the most important thing. With this build, you're able to bring up Jalen Brunson's 3-point shot up to a 6, playmaking up to a 6, and defending up to a 5. This is a very good Jalen Brunson build. So congrats on that. This build is good. It uses him efficiently, and there's really not much you can improve. The only thing you can really do is just max out the stats that you already brought up, but you have the right idea. And once you get better mentors, you'll be able to boost up some of those stats even more. We got Pistol Pete. You got the LeBron 5 shoes. Good idea by bringing up his defending up to a 5. Once you do make yourself a mentor or get a rare shoe at least, you can try to focus on bringing up his layups and dunks, which is at a 3, and continue building up the defense. Safe to say that Kevin Durant is one of the most popular small forwards in the game, along with the Jokic center, right? The Kevin Durant, using the pump up roars, you're able to bring up his layups and dunks up to a 5 and his shoot up dribble up to a 6. That's a really good idea. And then by adding the Scottie Pippen mentor, you brought up his defending by 2, which is incredible, and playmaking up to a 6. So this also is a really good Kevin Durant build. And what's cool is that you're using what you have, right? You're using uncommon shoes, which again, there are some sleeper uncommon shoes. There's some that also boost up mid-range and 3-point shot by 1. I was using those Currys for a very long time. Once you get a shoe that has a 3rd attribute or a rare that gives you a +2, continue building up those categories that you already built up. Antoine Walker, sleeper. One of the best stretch 4 power forwards, way ahead of his time. If he played in NBA now, he'll be balling out of control. And with the triple doubles card, his stats got boosted even more, right? He got a 6 in rebounding and 6 in mid-range, which is really, really good for a power forward, especially for the pick and rolls. By using the Converse fast break mids, those are one of my favorite uncommon shoes as well. It brings up 3-point shot up to a 5, which is good because he's a good corner tray specialist. And it brings up his agility to a 5 as well. So this is a good idea. I would encourage you to make a mentor for Anton Walker because he's a card you can actually use in head-to-head. He's really good. If you can make a mentor, try to bring up his defending because a 4-4 power forward is too low. And if you could bring up his layups and dunks, that way he can get some putbacks. We got Joel Embiid, MVP of the season. He's got the LeBron 17s on him, +2 to mid-range, +2 to strength, and +1 to rebounding. Really good shoot for Joel Embiid. It made a lot of sense putting this on him. Having him have a good mid-range shot is important for his style of game. Maxing out his strength is important because he is a strong center. So now he can be able to beast down low. And the 6 in rebounding, again, will be important for offensive rebounds. Once you do make your mentor, seeing what you already did with Joel Embiid, boost up his defending. That way he can be a monster on the block. Boost up his post scoring. That way he can be even crazier in the paint. And if you could, try to bring up his playmaking or his agility. That way he could be a little bit faster. But overall, this is a nice squad. You got a good combination of shooters. You got a good point guard who can penetrate and get to the paint and pass it out to Kevin Durant and Antoine Walker. You got Joel Embiid in there for support, and he can drop buckets as well when you need them. And you got Pistol Pete. So you got 2 really guards that can get into the paint easily. So this is a good team right here. All right, so we got our next team, which is Anna Silva. And after Anna Silva, I'm going to actually review one more team, only because this is the person that actually gave me the idea to do this video. Big shout out to Speedy the Eskimo. We're going to review his team as well. And we got a lot of teams to go through. So this is going to be a really fun series for sure. All right, so now we're looking at Ray Wynn's team. Really good squad. I can tell you right now, they got a lot of GOATs on there. Favorite team is the Lakers. I was hoping y'all went to the finals for sure. But as far as your squad, you got Stephen Curry Rainmakers, one of the top point guards in the game for sure. I see you're rocking the LeBron 8s, +2 to 3-point shot, which is a really good idea. Maxing out his 3-point shot makes him unstoppable. Boosting up his layups and dunks is a good idea as well. I think sitting at a 3 was too low. And then you have the Isaiah Thomas mentor, which boosts up his playmaking up to a 7. So that's a good idea as well. So this is a pretty good build. And once you eventually get an epic or legendary shoe or a higher mentor, you can continue boosting up the layups and dunks. I think that's a good idea. Bring up his defending as well. And then focus on shooter, dribble, or agility. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace always. You got the LeBron 8s. Again, a really good shoe. Maxes out his 3-point shot. Brings it up to a 7. You also brought up Kobe's defending up to a 6, which is a good idea. And with the Tyrese Maxey mentor, you brought up his playmaking up to a 6, which I think is so important for Kobe. Kobe's slower than Jordan, but he has a better 3-point shot than Jordan, right? This is the difference between the two. They're both elite. Now, if you are going to bring up some stats for Kobe, an epic or legendary shoe or a mentor, continue focusing on the stats that you already did, but also bring up Kobe's layups and dunks. He is ferocious in the paint when slashing. His mid-range and fadeaway are incredible as well if you boost those up, and then try to bring up his agility. We got LeBron James. You're rocking the Pete Lightning 6. It's a good shoe. Unfortunately, the third stat was defense, right? I hope that's something that is fixed for season 6, because having that third attribute be something you already have or don't need is tough, right? But aside from that, the shoe still works for LeBron. Once you do make a mentor for the LeBron card, bring up his mid-range, layups and dunks, and playmaking. We got courtside pass Giannis. This is a good card, especially if you didn't get the playoffs Giannis. This is the second best Giannis card in the game. He's rocking the Air Jordan 13s. This brings up Giannis' 3-point shot up to a 6, which crazy enough, Giannis makes a good amount of threes inside this game. Something that's admirable, right? Because he's worked on building his game where he added that to his repertoire. You also maxed out his playmaking, which is a good idea, and he brought up his agility up to a 6. So this is a really good Giannis. We'll get to the paint. If you do get the mentor, bring up his layups and dunks, you will notice the difference. Since he's already speeding down the court, he'll be able to get those dunks and post dunks added as well. And then try to max out his rebounding or defending with the mentor. And then last but not least, we got Yao Ming, top tier center. Even it being an amber is still very good, especially for head to head. So you got the D-Lillard 4s, which maxed out his rebounding, maxed out his strength, and it brought up defending up to a 5. So this is a good build for Yao Ming. I would encourage you to make a mentor that would continue boosting his defending. His height allows him to be an incredible shot blocker. And if you could, keep bringing up the layups and dunks in the mid-range. So now on to the last team, which will be Speedy. Favorite team is the Clippers. Now, Speedy took a break from the game. He's pretty new to NBA 2K Mobile this season. He's a subscriber that joined off of season 5, but he was pretty active in the comment section. I always see him speaking to the community as well. So he's somebody that grabs the game pretty quickly, and it's good to see him back, right? Because it's good to have those type of players inside the community. So it's good to see him back. Now, I'm not too sure if this is his head-to-head team or if it's his current team, but I do know he took a break. But looking at his squad, though, he got Ja Morant, and I hope Ja Morant can turn things around because he is such a superstar in the making and a really good player for sure. Young, incredible talent. And you got a lot on the line, man. You got your family, you got your kid. Prayers up for Ja Morant, only sending nothing but love and positive encouragement to you, because that's what you need right now. As far as this Ja Morant build, he's got the D-Rose 9. This brings up his shoot-off dribble up to a 7, which is so good for Ja Morant. He's got a quick first step, very explosive, especially this trash talkers card. It's really elite. This also brings up his playmaking by 2. So maxed out shoot-off dribble, maxed out playmaking. The Oscar Robertson mentor maxes out his agility and maxes out his mid-range shooting. So this is a really, really good build for Ja Morant because it takes advantage of his strengths. Now, hopefully the third attribute for these D-Rose 9s is layups and dunks, because that will make him incredible. He will be such a posterizing player. It'll be insane. And eventually, if you do make a new mentor, you can try to focus on building up his defending as well. Because right now, a 4 in defending is kind of low for your point guards. You need them to be a little bit higher to be able to defend against players like Stephen Curry, Damian Lillard. Like, it's super important. Second card is Drazen Petrovic, a sleeper gem card for sure. And it was really exciting to see him inside of NBA 2K Mobile. He's got a Curry 1, so this brings up his playmaking up to a 6. As far as building out Drazen Petrovic, you got to bring up his defending, which is at a 4, layups and dunks, which is at a 3, and then try to focus on his shooting stats. Congratulations on your incredible NBA journey. Right? If you don't know, Melo announced his retirement a few days ago. Still a little bit sad because I still think he could have been balling in the NBA. He could have been stacking up his points. He was really close to passing Shaq on the all-time list as well. So again, it's a little sad, a little bittersweet. He was such an incredible scorer. Had a great run with the Knicks, so it's nothing but love. Stay mellow. Speedy's rocking the Peak Lightning 6, which brings up defending up to a 5, right? That's something important for Melo because he only had a 3, which is really low. And he's rocking the James Worthy Mentor, which brings up agility up to a 6 and his post scoring up to a 6, which is a smart idea for this Melo. One of the few small forwards that have a 5 in post scoring. Really good offensive player inside this game. Hopefully this Peak Lightning 6 will boost up his layups and dunks and maybe bring up his mid-range and 3-point shot or playmaking. Next, we got Rim Rocket Sean Kemp, which is such an explosive power forward in this game. A lot of fun to use. The Hyper Dunk 2008s, we're able to max out his agility, bring up his playmaking by 2, because it was only a 2, right? Incredibly low. The Amethyst Giannis mentor, which is easy to make, who's brought up Sean Kemp's playmaking by 2 and is defending by 2. So this is a very, very good build for Sean Kemp because he's got maxed out agility, maxed out defending, 6 in playmaking. Hopefully that next attribute on the Hyper Dunk 2008s is a boost to layups and dunks, or at least a boost to his mid-range. The courtside pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's got the Peak Lightning 6, which brought up agility up to a 6, defending up to a 7, which is incredible. The Joel Embiid mentor brought up his layups and dunks up to a 7 and post scoring up to a 7. This has to be like the best Kareem Abdul-Jabbar build you can have, because defending's maxed out, post scoring's maxed out, layups and dunks maxed out. It just makes him a beast in the paint. And then bringing up agility will help with his speed. Hopefully that Peak Lightning 6 will boost up either his playmaking or his mid-range shot. All right, so there you have it. That is the first episode of me reviewing your teams and giving you tips and feedback on how to build out your squads. This video was definitely a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it, man, because it allowed me to really take a deep dive of different shoes inside the game, different player combinations, and it definitely inspires me to keep doing these build videos as well. So I appreciate the support everyone's been showing on the community posts. We were able to get through 5 teams in this video. I will keep the series going, try to drop it once a week, where I'll feature 4 teams. I think that's a good amount of teams per video. It doesn't keep it too long, but it still gives you a lot of information and helps out people in the community. We got more content lined up this week. We got a classic teams episode dropping, and we got more content lined up for the week as well. We got the upcoming Power Cap event, where the final reward is a LeBron James from the Miami Heat. That is going to be crazy. Now, if you haven't done so already, please feel free to drop me a follow on NBA 2K Mobile, and remember to like and subscribe on the channel, all right? So as always, I appreciate everyone. I'll catch everybody in the next video. Peace out.